So what you are looking at right now is a application and an app that I made inside of Thunkable, software that allows you to create apps. And what we can now do with Thunkable is publish it as a web app or a web page. And so this right here is an app that I made in Thunkable, and it's also available on my Apple iOS device and Android devices. And what I want to do today is show you exactly how I did this with Thunkable and share with you some of the things that I learned through the process. So let's get into that now. So hey friends, my name is Darren, and on this channel I teach you how to make apps most of the time by showing you how I made my own apps and sharing with you what I learned in the process. So if you love to learn, you love to create things, and you love to share those things with others, you're in a good place. And so yes, in this kind of video series this month, we're looking at this app that I created called Send That. And basically the initial version, what it allows you to do is to just like transfer links and text between your phone, your computer to your phone. And eventually I want to expand that. But one of the requirements for this was to be able to have my app as accessible through the internet. So this right now, if I go to, let me switch back over to here. If I go to send that, it will pull up my app that I created. So yeah, I just want to show you how you can do this inside of Thunkable with your apps, and then later we'll jump into what I learned through this. So just to get into how to do this, I'll pull up my app here, my project here on Thunkable. And if you come up, this is what anyone can do. You can preview what your app looks like on your computer, so you don't have to have the local testing app on your phone if you don't have that for some reason. If you come up here to the top to live test, you can see a preview of your app, and this is like what it will look like on your screen. But if you come right up here, there's a little hyperlink that says preview as a responsive web app, and that will pull up another test page. And this is what your app would look like if it was published to the web through their web publishing service. So if you wanted to see what your app would look like as like a website, then you can do just that. So that's how you preview it, and anybody has access to that. Now, what do we do when we actually want to publish this so that other people can access our app without having to be logged into our account? Well, for that, we can come up here to the top right to publish. And the third option down here is publish as a web app. And you'll see here in parentheses, it says that this is a pro feature. So I will click on that. And right here, it just has this little get starting page. But let's come back to this. I wanted to show you what it would look like if you were not a pro member. So this is one of my other accounts inside of Thunkable, and this is an app that I made a few videos ago. And on this account, I'm not a Thunkable Pro member. You can see up here I'm not pro. So if I come to publish this one, it says only pro members can publish as a web app. And so if you're not a pro member, this is what you will see, and you'll have a button here to upgrade to pro membership. Basically, pro membership gives you access to kind of more, I guess, exclusive features like publishing ads with AdMob, publishing the live, or publishing the web app, things like that. If you go to your membership page, you can see all the list of current and new features as they keep on coming out. But let's look at, if you are a pro member, what this looks like. So here, instead of Go Pro, it says get a link and publish. So I will click on that. And what this does is it goes ahead and publishes this. And so now this app can be accessed to this link right here. And I can copy it or click here to open it up in another web page. And you can see right here, let me zoom in. I mean, I'm sure you can see that, but you can see here, this is published as just a generic web app. It's not what we call in the coding world responsive, meaning that it's responding to the size of the screen. And so how do we do that? Well, we come back to our publishing little modal here, publishing window, And right now it's select web app format mobile web app. We can change that to responsive web app. And I think, do we have to republish that? I don't know. Let's click this and see what happens. Okay, that did not work. So let's go and try, let's disable our publishing link. Let me actually exit out of here, and then I'll open it back up. And then responsive web app is selected. We will enable publishing link. And so now let's try that. Oh goodness. Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, a little confused here, but you're probably confused if you're trying to do this as well. So it looks like at the bottom right, let's try this, publish current version. And so that'll publish a new version of it. We can open that up. Yeah, and now this is as the responsive web app page. So that's how you generate that link. And then this is the difference between the mobile web app and the responsive web app. And both of these will look good if you're pulling it up on your phone, but if you want it to look like big and fill up the screen, if you're pulling it up on like a tablet through the internet, or if you're pulling it up on a computer, then that responsive web app is really the way to go if you want it to look like a website. So that is kind of how you do it. Some things that I wanted to go over as far as my feedback on it is, really, first off, I think this feature is just awesome. I know when I got started with Thunkable, I just thought it was amazing that you can make an app that was both, for iOS and for Android, that had both those platforms built in. And then when I saw this feature come out, I mean, it's I don't know, I just think it's awesome because it's something I never really considered. I actually wanted to make this app before, but I just was kind of hesitant because I knew I would have to like code up a web page and get that working where I'd have my app and then I'd have my separate, HTML, CSS web page that would hook up to my Firebase project. And I just, didn't really have the time or really the urge to do that right away. But once I saw that this feature was available, I was like, boom, let's get on this. So before I give any of my critiques, I want you to know that I love this feature and I think it is really, really awesome. So the first thing I would say is not all components are available just yet. And if you go to the Thunkable docs, you go to the publish as a web app page, and if you scroll down, you'll see kind of everything I discussed in this video for the most part. But if you scroll down to the bottom here, there are certain components that are not supported yet, or in some of them will never be supported. And you can see that right here on status. So, cannot be supported AdMob. So AdMob is specifically for mobile applications. Some are not supported yet, like alerts, all these other ones. So you can review this to compare against your app. So that's the first thing I would note is some things are not supported yet. The second thing I would say is some components that are there aren't completely responsive like I would like them to be just yet. I'm sure they will get there. And an example of this is if we look at, which account I want to, this one. So here is my brain dump app, which is basically like a to-do list that I made a few videos ago. If we can preview it, we'll just preview it. You can see right here that this fills up the page here, but these little, you see the angles, they aren't all the way to the right. This, this part right here is not totally responsive, and you can see that clearly when we view it as a web page app. So right here you can see, I would like for these bars to go all the way across because that is more aesthetically pleasing. And I've seen a few things like this where things aren't totally responsive. And one of the ways that I got around this was using buttons, because I found that buttons were totally responsive. And so you notice right here that my cursor is the hand. So you can see that this is actually a button that my cursor is going over. So this top thing is a button with a picture in the background. And you can watch my last video that I'll link in a card that shows you how I basically designed this whole app. So basically, this is new. It's going to be tweaked and things like that, but you're going to have to be flexible as far as designing, and you're kind of going to have to work around that, which is what I did. My biggest critique and my biggest ask on this one, this is my last point, is right now, whenever I go to my domain that I created, send that, you can see, or maybe you can't see. Let's see how far I can zoom this baby in. Oh, it's not going to zoom it in. But up here, this is Thunkable's domain. So thunk.app. This is not my domain. So as I'm trying to create like a professional app or something like that, I would like my domain to be up there. So that's kind of my biggest ask. Right now, I have in GoDaddy, which is what I use to register my domains, I have it forwarding to this URL. What I would like to do is be able to mask this URL with mine so that when people go to it, my users aren't like thrown off looking at somebody else's little, URL. They might not know what is going on. So that's my biggest critique, biggest ask. We'll see what comes from it. So yeah, really, that's it. That's how you use the new web app feature. My question to you is, what do you think of this? And what improvements would you like to see? And is this kind of off par, or do you not think this is cool? If you don't think this is cool, I really want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. But from here, if you are interested in learning more about how to create apps, I will link to a playlist that shows you all the videos on how I made this app specifically, because this is kind of the series on this app. So if you want to see how I made this app, how I'm making data transfer between devices, how I designed this thing, you can click the playlist at the top. And then if you want to see a video on when you're getting ready to publish, all the things you'll need to create as far as pictures and images and things, and the whole publishing process, then you can click the video at the bottom. And other than that, if you like this video, you like what we're doing here, then please consider subscribing, like this video, and I'll talk to you in the next one, my friend. Happy coding.